So I was speaking with a very well-known financial celebrity, somebody who has spent decades in the industry, writing extensively about money, and somebody who's built a career helping others to make really smart financial decisions. And she had been considering the same property purchase for almost 20 years, but kept putting it off. So despite having excellent financial education, clear logical reasons for this property move, something was holding her back. And what we discovered in a conversation revealed everything about why you might be undercharging, avoiding money conversations, feeling a lot of fear around money, even though you may have money, or potentially just sabotaging your financial success. And I'm going to show you today the 7-day process that I have created that will help you to uncover these hidden money patterns. Because what's really happening underneath is that every time we have a conversation around money, whether it is hesitation in raising your prices, feeling guilty about being financially successful when other people are struggling, or hitting these invisible income ceilings, this is not something that you are experiencing just as a consequence of your own beliefs around money. You're actually experiencing inherited survival strategies that have literally been passed down through 3 generations. And if even financial experts carry these money blocks, what patterns might you be carrying? Because the consequence of carrying these patterns is that if we don't understand them, you'll keep hitting the same financial milestones for years, possibly passing down these money limitations to the next generation. And there is a very systematic way to uncover your inherited beliefs around money. So I'm going to be talking you through today the 7-day money story discovery process. And I'm also going to be sharing some resources for you. I'm Catherine Morgan, and after 17 years, in fact, probably more like 20 years now of being in financial services, helping thousands of people transform their money relationship, I've discovered a very specific framework that reveals these hidden patterns, and I would love you to start using this today. So I'm going to be sharing some resources for you in this episode and in this video. I'll be sharing the link shortly with you. But let's just go back to this example of this very well-known financial professional, right? So we've been discussing her property purchase. And what I was doing is using a method where we talk about chasing the energy. We're chasing the energy. It's a principle that comes from EFT, known as emotional freedom technique. And we were chasing this energy. Where was she actually experiencing this fear around money? And what we do when we're chasing the energy is I'm really getting curious to her language with money. And this is something I want you to immediately start to think about with your own relationship with money. And we were talking about this fear of not having enough, this fear of money just suddenly disappearing. And this is this very exact sentence that she used with me. She said, "I've got this constant fear that everything could change in a heartbeat." Now, think about it. In a heartbeat is not random language, right? This is part of the discovery process of understanding your money story, because your unconscious mind will choose words very, very deliberately, and they are literally like a doorway to our deepest money beliefs. And so I had in front of me this insanely brilliant woman who could explain the most complex investment strategies to you. Yet she was feeling really paralyzed by this fear around money and not really being able to explain why. And here's what made the breakthrough really interesting is instead of just talking about the money fear itself, we followed a systematic process to trace them back to the source. And so when she said about this, the statement around fear that everything could change in a heartbeat, intuitively, I said to her, "Did someone in your family have a heart attack?" And it was literally like silence. And she was like, "Yeah, my father's brother died instantly when he was about 13 years old. And it was the same period that my dad was made redundant. And I've never connected these two things together." And what happened next was really interesting because this incredible woman who'd built her career helping others with money suddenly had this realization that she'd never had before. Having witnessed two sudden losses in very quick succession, her unconscious mind had created this simple survival belief that everything that you count on can disappear in a heartbeat. And she was like, this is blowing me away. I wasn't expecting this. I've never connected this before. And within weeks of the conversation, she's now moved forward with her property purchase. She actually sent me a card. And not because of any of the logical reasons of explaining, oh, well, I definitely have enough money to buy this house. I can afford to do it. It was just this realization that she'd inherited this fear belief specifically around money, that when money comes, that it can suddenly disappear. And this breakthrough didn't happen by accident. It followed this very clear process that I'm going to teach you today, a very systematic way to uncover these inherited money patterns in just 7 days. And within this process, you'll see that I've discovered that inherited money beliefs show in very predictable ways. And having worked with many, many people around this framework, I found that they fall into quite specific patterns based on fundamental money activities. And I call this the 3-zone assessment. And it's the foundation of the 7-day process that we're going to map out together. And every money decision falls into one of these 3 zones. So zone number 1 is receiving money. This is where we look at, are you open to receive money in a way that is connected to your value, right? And away from your self-worth, right? So when we connect our sense of self to money, then quite frankly, if you don't feel great about your self-worth, you're never going to be charging the value, whether that's in business or whether that's in a salary job. And so being comfortable and confident in receiving is the first money zone. Now, you might be wondering, well, how do I know if I have a block around receiving money? Well, let me ask you a question that is not connected to money. So if I was to ask you, when was the last time someone gave you a lovely compliment? Maybe a compliment about your hair. Oh, your hair looks lovely today, or your outfit, that dress looks lovely on you. What did you do with that compliment? Did you bat it back and say, oh, this old thing, like 20 years old, is gathering dust, it actually needs a wash? Or when they complimented your hair, you were like, oh, thanks, like I didn't do anything with it today. Or, like, what did you do with that compliment, right? Because your ability to receive compliments is directly linked to your ability to receive money. It's all connected to love and self-worth. So is zone 1 a area for you, receiving money? How comfortable and safe do you feel to receive, right? Zone number 2 is your ability to hold money, i.e. your ability to hold love and compassion and joy and safety, right? So if you think about money, how does this show up? Well, this might be being in your ability to maintain a savings balance without this need to go and spend. It might be your ability to sit comfortably with accumulating more personal wealth, not spending everything as soon as it comes in, right? Your ability to hold money. That's zone number 2. This was a really big one for me, actually, growing up, is that my pattern was, it was safe for me to make money, but I just couldn't keep hold of it, because money for me, keeping hold of it, was greedy. It was selfish. It was something that was connected to things that I witnessed growing up that I didn't really like. Money was used to manipulate other people. And so I didn't want to be treated as someone who was going to manipulate people. So I would make it really easily, but then I would just get rid of it. Like the car would suddenly blow up, the washing machine would need replacing. There'd always be something to spend the money on, or always someone I could give that money to so that I didn't have to keep hold of it for myself, right? And then zone number 3 is our ability to give. And this may show up in your ability to invest money. It might be your ability to invest in companies that are growing. It might be your ability to invest in working with a mentor or expanding your business. It might be your ability to go and ask for investment. It might be your ability in investing in yourself or taking financial risks, right? And this zone is very connected to how safe we feel, not just in zone 1, which is all about receiving. Zone 2 is holding, but zone 3 is about like giving money. It's about spending money potentially. Maybe you're the sort of person who feels really comfortable to hoard money, to save money, but actually when it comes to taking risks or spending it, that doesn't feel safe. And we find this very much so in our money story types assessment tool, which if you haven't taken that yet, go grab the link in the notes below. It's katherinemorgan.com/quiz. And if you come out as the architect as your primary money story type, then very often your money story is going to be connected to your ability to feel safe, to take financial risks, to not always have a financial plan in place, to not have everything in your budget plan, or to not have everything mapped out in advance, right? So those are the 3 zones. And the client that I was talking to you about earlier who couldn't buy this property, she was stuck in zone 3. Her belief that everything you count on disappears instantly, or that, money can just disappear in a heartbeat, right? This was very interlinked to her ability to make a significant spend without it feeling terrifying, right? So she was kind of in this zone 3. So let's continue with this assessment right now. I want you to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on a comfort zone for each of these zones. So zone 1 is receiving. How comfortable are you in receiving money on a scale of 1 to 10? Receiving full rates, being paid what you're worth, receiving gifts at Christmas time or on your birthday. How do you feel about receiving on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being really joyful, very happy to receive, and 1 being really uncomfortable with receiving that. Maybe you're getting a physical reaction right now, even just thinking about the answer to that question, right? And then zone number 2, same question. How comfortable are you with money sitting in your account, building savings balances without immediately spending them? Rate yourself on that scale of 1 to 10. And then finally, zone 3, how comfortable are you spending on growth, right? Taking risks with money. On a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you feeling? And your lowest score reveals where there may be some inherited money blocks hiding in there. So let me now show you the complete 7-day process to uncover exactly where they came from. Are you ready? So here's how the 7-day money story discovery process works. And you can grab a link in the notes below this video or this audio if you're listening on the podcast to a framework where you can go through this full 7-day process with me. And day 1 and day 2 is all about mastering using these tools yourself first. So if you're helping clients with money, if you're a financial professional, if you're a coach, if you're a business coach, if you're a lifestyle coach, then you want to be able to guide yourself first before you can guide others, right? So this is about mastering the tools for yourself. So once you've completed the 3-zone assessment that we just did, we want to go a little bit deeper. We want to notice which of those zones feels most uncomfortable and why. What emotions are coming up? What voices are you hearing? What messages or stories are you familiarized with that you may have experienced growing up around money? And when we start to dive into some of those pieces, we can really get to listen to our own internal money language. Remember that statement, like a heartbeat, right? If you can write some money stories out or have a conversation with somebody about this, you can really catch this language that can literally be the gateway to helping you identify your money story and your relationship with money. So do you catch yourself maybe saying things like, I can't charge that much, or I only need enough just to get by? Well, who else in your family just got by? Right? These phrases are like these little breadcrumbs that are leading you back to a whole array of potential inherited beliefs. And epigenetics does show us that these beliefs are literally carried through our DNA by 3 generations. So you think about your parents or your caregivers, their parents and their parents, right? There's a whole load of money stories and beliefs that have come from systemic money influences, society. I mean, nowadays we have social media influencing our relationship with money. But 100 years ago, or thousands of years ago, if you didn't have land or title, you didn't have value in society. And so money is so interwoven into how we feel connected, our sense of belonging, our sense of safety, right? And so a great question here for yourself might be, what money messages did you inherit from your family? How might your own patterns be affecting your own decisions with money? And that's what we want to explore in those first few days of this 7-day money story framework. And then what we want to do is to move into a days or 3 and 4, if you like, of the 7-day process, where we want to start practicing opening up this dialogue with somebody that you trust. So I want you to think about, who is someone that you could go and have this conversation with tomorrow, right? This could be a friend, it might be a work colleague, it could be your partner, it could even be your children. Like, I love talking to my 2 boys about money. And sometimes they pick me up on things that I'm saying and they start to challenge, like, oh, is that really true, Mum? Like, is that really true about money? And so I want you to go and find someone who you can have this conversation with. And I want you to think about asking them, how comfortable on a scale of 0 to 10 are you on receiving money, holding on to savings, or investing money, taking risks? Which of those zones do they find most challenging and why? And I want you to get curious. I want you to listen to their language. I want you to get curious to what might have been some of their biggest money influences growing up. What messages did they hear about money in their family? And I want you to catch the language patterns. Listen for those phrases that might reveal some of those borrowed beliefs. And it's a great opportunity to just have a great, interesting conversation about money. We don't talk about money enough, right? Why don't we talk about money? Because of what money means. What do we make money mean? And it's what we make it mean that is the taboo subject. It's not actually money itself. So then day 5, day 6 of this 7-day framework is, I want you to try this framework with one current client that you are supporting who has been stuck on implementation or something where they're perhaps showing signs of some money blocks. And you'll open the conversation a little bit like this. So I've been noticing some hesitation when we talk about financial aspects of your goal, maybe the specificity of those, or, I'm noticing there's some hesitation around this conversation. And there's often a deeper layer around money that affects our ability to create what we really want and desire. Would you be open to explore this? And then I want you to guide them through that 3-zone assessment. I want you to explore their lowest scoring zone. And maybe you do this with your partner at home, right? If you don't have clients that you're supporting, go and do this with your partner at home. And I want you to connect it into their current money challenges, right? Look for their success indicators, those aha moments where they feel really understood, not judged around money. And then you can move them into the final day 7, which is reflecting and integrating. So I want you to ask yourself and them, what surprised you most about your own money patterns? Which of your clients maybe showed some strong response to this work? What did it reveal to you about your language with money? And how may this change things for you, having discovered these narratives, these stories? What might be possible for you now? right? And the piece that changes, or completes, I guess, this 7-day journey is that you'll get to understand your own inherited money patterns. You'll know how to have good money conversations with confidence with yourself, and you'll be able to help others where they have money issues. And this might be your partner at home. This might help you to understand why they react in a certain way and why you react in a certain way, which is very likely going to be polar opposites, right? Or it might just help you to understand if you've got clients who are stuck, who are not making decisions, who are burying their head in the sand, who are making a bunch of money but are still not making good decisions with money, or they hold some fear and shame around maybe overspending with money. Because really, the pattern around this is about understanding where does their money story originate and getting them to almost detach themselves from that story, that it doesn't have to be who they are. We are not money. We are all human beings. And as we saw at the beginning of this, even financial professionals, people who have a lot of financial knowledge and expertise, still have inherited money beliefs that are running their decisions, that are running their money habits, that are essentially making the difference between how much money they hold and how much money they save. And so if you've been hitting the same financial walls for years, you are not alone. You're certainly not alone. And I really love to consider that when we start to break these cycles, we're not just changing your own financial situation, you're literally modeling that it is safe to do this work, right? It is safe for you to make more money. It is safe for you to hold more money. It's safe for you to invest more money. It's safe for you to take more calculated investment risks. It is safe for you to do something that generationally may have never been done before. You think back to, as a woman, we could only open our own bank account since the 1960s in the UK. It wasn't until the 1980s that we could even open our own mortgage without having a male guarantor. It's not that long ago. And generationally, we still have a lot of generational money beliefs to challenge, to change and shift. But if we're still sitting in those money beliefs and stories and believing that they are true and not questioning them, then actually we're just passing on those generations for the next generation. And certainly when I'm working with younger clients right now, I am seeing those shifts happen already. The generation, the Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, as we start to go through the younger generations, they are making very different decisions around money. And so if you have children, the way that we talk to kids about money is very, very different. The way that they're behaving with money is very, very different. Right. And so this 7-day kind of money story discovery process is the first step to start to change some of these systemic beliefs around money. And so I'll drop a link again into the link below for you to go and grab access to this discovery process guide. It's going to walk you through everything step by step. It's going to give you some reflection questions in there, some conversation scripts as well, and some integration strategies. So everything I've been sharing today, plus the detailed framework that sits behind it. So you can download this using the link in the description. Start your 7-day money journey today. And we need more people doing this work, guys, right? So if you want to go a little bit deeper into understanding these inherited beliefs and how they may show up in your daily money language and your decision-making process, then I also have another video and podcast episode that is called The Invisible Money Scripts, Sabotaging Your Success and How to Rewrite Them. So I'll link that below in the description. It's the perfect companion to what we've been covering today. And just remember, it's not about getting things perfect with money. This is about being open to explore the beliefs that sit behind the decisions that we're making and questioning which of these are supporting us, which of them are sabotaging us, and which of those ones we want to hold on to so we can take those forward into this new paradigm around wealth creation so that you can feel safe to make more money and hold more money with ease. So I'll see you next week. Thanks so much for listening. See you soon.